So apparently the robot told us to build a podcast about pop culture.
Oh yeah.
Um,
So
what's popular?
I'm an old man, so
I can
for
tell from
me
the gray beard.
it's gonna be like the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones and Real Big Fish.
Is that the movie where the guy like came to a town and he found a girlfriend and he left and it was
No, that's Disney's Big Fish.
Oh. What's
No.
Real Big Fish?
Real Big Fish is a ska band.
Is the guy with the harmonica?
No. That's
Hootie and the Blowfish?
That's Hootie and the Blowfish.
Well,
Thank
aren't
you.
Blowfish big?
I mean, yeah, but
This is a good podcast.
it is a good podcast.
Wait, what?
So anyway, have you ever had fugu?
I was thinking I need to go to Japan. I need to go to a love hotel, and I need to order fugu in the love hotel.
I was just talking to Jamie, and he was
He prefers to be called Jaime because he grew up near a Taco Bell.
This is a fact.
Yes.
This is what's known as a true fact.
Yes.
You probably never heard of it. So, he was telling me about fugu, and he was telling me that it was a goddamn waste of time.
Oh, did they not have enough poison in it?
Well, the issue is that it's just kind of rubbery and not very good tasting.
Oh, it's the taste of death that they're supposed to leave a little poison in it.
Yeah, it apparently it's not like it doesn't have any real effect. It's just a psychosomatic thing, and it's just become kind of a tourist trap situation.
Oh, well, that's very disappointing. You're probably going to want to find better fugu so that you can eat part of the blowfish so that you really can get your tongue to go numb and your limbs to go numb and suppress your breathing and die.
Oh, well,
That was my idea.
Listen. Now, our generation really does like the concept of choosing death over anything else.
I don't want to die forever. Just,
For a little while.
a little while. Yeah.
I just want it all to go away.
Is that a song lyric you're thinking of?
I honestly don't know.
So this is what happened to the greatest pop star of all time, Michael Jackson.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, yeah. From what I understand, and this is a layman who had only been cursory paying attention to the whole Michael Jackson situation. Michael Jackson was a bit of a weirdo, and just because he was a bit of a weirdo and a little eccentric, parents of children who hung out with him because he infantilized himself, convinced their children to have sexual allegations against Michael Jackson, which apparently they later recanted after his death.
I don't know. I was watching a documentary on HBO, and it seemed like they were pretty serious allegations that people really were holding on to. However, I just couldn't handle continuing to watch it.
I mean, when it comes to talking about pop culture,
Right.
I got to tell you, pop culture today is depressing as shit, so I've avoided a lot of it.
Well, when I think of pop culture, I certainly think of pedophilia. And I think if we're going to do a fans-only podcast, it's only appropriate to speak to the underlying pedophilic nature of the Hollywood elite.
Yeah, well, of any rich elite, but we're not going there because that's not what this fucking podcast is.
No, this is not a communist podcast. It's not about the cult. It's not about how capitalism is bad.
You can't talk about the cult.
Oh, it's not a cult. That's why it's not about it.
Right.
So, popping cultures, I sure do. Like Dawa Zhilong, is that pop culture?
Dawa Zhilong?
Yeah, they have
industrial grade glycol?
Yeah, their glycine is EPA, JP, and FDA certified for both food and medicine grade glycine. This podcast is brought to you by Dawa Zhilong.
Dawa Zhilong. It's the glycine.
Yep. Now, what's going to happen is you're going to have tariffs. In Dawa Zhilong, their glycine is going to go through the roof. And then we're going to find out who the real glycine lovers of Dawa Zhilong are and who are just in it for the clout.
It's actually the American people because from what I understand, Dawa Zhilong glycine, the food grade stuff, is what they make the little McGriddle syrup pellets out of.
Oh, it's so good. It's illegal everywhere else because that shit is not good for you. Don't know our sponsor, Dawa Zhilong. It is very good for you. And also, by the way, we're losing to China now that not talking about politics.
You can't help it. You can't help yourself.
I can't. I really can't. Oh,
That's not this podcast.
Okay.
That's for another podcast.
Yes. This is for fans only, the kind of people that love to be fans. We're fans ourselves. Let me check. What am I getting alerts on? What am I a fan of? I am a fan of Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda. There you go.
Random racist South Park memes being sent to me by people.
Oh.
Ricky Gervais told a joke. He claimed
oh.
someone else came up with a joke.
Oh, that's a great way to tell a joke.
And it's now here's the thing. People say you can't tell a Holocaust joke.
Of course you can. You can tell a Holocaust joke.
Okay, but here's the thing. No one's going to laugh. And here's proof. A man was in the Holocaust and he died and he's at the pearly gates and he's talking to God.
Uh-huh.
And he tells God his Holocaust joke.
Uh-huh.
God just looks back at him, doesn't laugh, and says, well, that's not funny. And the man says, well, I guess you had to be there.
Listen. That is a benign betrayal of expectations.
That's right. Anytime you have a benign violation, it can be a joke. Time can make things more benign. The Holocaust, obviously not a benign situation.
Right.
The fact that you're violating a deeply held assumption that God is everywhere by proving that he obviously wasn't fucking in that camp, or otherwise, why the fuck didn't he stop it?
I gotta stop you there. You're
many F words in the first 4 minutes.
No. You're just careening right into a different podcast.
God damn it. I just like Ricky Gervais. He was talking to Jerry Seinfeld. It was fine. It was very pop culture.
I forget which award show it was where he was just on. He just went up on stage and he collected his award and he was like, "You're all fucking pedophiles, each and every one of you," and then he left.
Oh, hey, that is an important part of our podcast, is pointing out the pedophiles amongst the Hollywood elite. So I'd say it is a combination of talking about, fans, fandom, and the fundamentally pedophilic nature of the Hollywood elite.
So is any of this salvageable? I mean,
salvageable. This is gold. This is the only thing we're going to get subscribed to. People are going to give us money. This is grift. This is grift to the moon.
Well, I guess fans only care about what we have to say.
They really do. In the same way, if you watch Down the Rabbit Hole, you find that the QAnon conspiracy starts on the same forum that the people went to when 4chan said, we're not tolerating those images.
Yeah.
So when they said there's people on the internet exploiting children, they knew what they were talking about.
I'm going to stop you right there. Different podcast.
God damn it. It's pop culture. It was on HBO. It's fine.
Now, let's not get into the philosophical quandary whether or not HBO qualifies as pop culture any longer.
Oh my gosh.
You know what? If we get stuck on what is pop culture any longer, we will have no fucking touchstones that we are attached to.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that pop culture is like anything that you enjoy now, right? Like if you have a streaming service, it's on there, that's fine. It's pop culture.
Yeah. Just tell everybody to subscribe to things that you like, and
yeah, now it'll be popular for you. I'm watching Spy Family.
Oh, and I'm assuming that's about a family of spies.
You would have thought so, but no.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Actually, there's only one spy in the family, and then
is he spying on the family?
He has the family as a cover for his spy outfit for what he's doing to spy.
But do people know that his family is spy?
No, they don't. They don't. He has to cover that up. And he also doesn't know that his wife is an assassin. and he doesn't know that who isn't his real wife, and that his fake daughter is a telepath that he found somewhere.
Well, I'm going to stop you right there. An assassin is a subclass of spy.
Right.
And a telepath is basically a spy you'll never find out about.
Yeah. Well, she keeps having to cover it up, and like she's like 4 years old, but she pretended to be 6 years old because she read his mind and knew that he wanted a 6-year-old, and she really wanted out of the orphanage. So this 4-year-old is a 6-year-old and can read everybody's mind and knows that daddy is a spy.
Oh, I get it. It's an anime, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an anime. They have a family dog. It's pretty cool.
Is the dog also a spy?
The dog's a really good spy. He was in a secret experiment, and he was on a mission with his with the dad, and the dad was like, "I guess we're teaming up." And so yeah, and the kid watches a TV show about a spy and named the dog after the spy in the TV show.
This is a lot of exposition.
It's a great show.
Yeah,
it's a great show. I love this show.
Yeah.
And so is that on topic for the podcast?
Yeah, it's absolutely on topic for the podcast.
And we're all going to need to know how to do this as we fight the patriarchal fascist regime that is coming to destroy us. So Spy Family is a secret anarcho-communist plot device teaching us how to resist against these people.
This is skirting the line.
Okay, well, all I'm saying is that if you don't have a dog wearing a bow tie in your house, get one now.
I mean, isn't that the American dream?
Well, you would have thought so, but the American dream's apparently dead because everyone I talk to doesn't even own a bow tie.
That's got to be the name of some sort of like. I was trying to come up with an artist that.
Everyone I know doesn't even own a bow tie? That's a lot of letters. We call them EIO. Wait.
You can't even acronym that shit.
I can't spell anything. Yeah, I'm dyslexic, so. That's good, though. They gave me a job where my job's to read and write, and I can't read and write. That's
okay. You get to decide what the words are.
Like my friend who invented a word that sounds like I'll tell you. Dave Bogie, the wizard who gave me a PhD, invented the word anti-narrative. Mm-hmm. And everyone thinks it's anti-narrative.
No, it's onto-narrative.
Which is like pre-narrative or bet narrative, right? Mm-hmm. The problem is he was working with some folks in Europe. Uh-huh. They changed it to anti-narrative.
Oh.
And they got it wrong.
Yeah, they definitely got it wrong.
Yeah. So the thing that comes before you generate a narrative is a very interesting field of study in terms of like processes and storytelling. A narrative that's against another narrative is just basic rhetoric and super boring.
But what does this have to do with the Kardashians?
So there were two kinds of space Jew in that show. And the first kind was the one that they first put in Next Generation, and that was the Ferengi. And I think that's just completely wrong. This anti-Jewish, they love money and they have big ears, right? Okay, instead of big noses, but they also have big noses, and that's awful.
I'm cutting that from the podcast.
But the better space Jew, right, are the Bajorans. And they were being oppressed by the fascist Cardassians. And the Kardashians, they couldn't keep up with, and they were like Mengele experimented on and tortured. And they had like an Antifa movement to fight against the fascists that were invading their land. And they had this like beautiful religion with different perspectives that they were really into, which kind of kept them from getting into the full Federation. They were seriously Jew-coded, but in all the best ways. So that's what it has to do with the Cardassians.
I mean, you have answered my question.
You asked a question.
And it has done nothing but made me blindingly angry.
Well, I mean, eventually the resistance movement got the Kardashians to get off of Bajor and go back to Cardassia.
You're not getting it. The reason why I'm angry is I still haven't watched it.
We've never seen Deep Space Nine.
It is very slow.
Deep Space Nine
is very slow. It's like Deep Space Nine is like Babylon 5.
No, it isn't like Babylon 5. It is Babylon 5. The guy who's the showrunner for Deep Space Nine was it confronted by the guy who wrote the Bible for Babylon 5, and he stole the show Bible and the plot and everything from Babylon 5 to make it a Star Trek. And then Babylon 5 was made because that guy made a show Bible that got published into Babylon 5. So they are the same show. They are the same ideas. They are the same characters. They have the same plot. They have the same trajectory. Everything runs exactly the same way in the two shows, except by season 3, you can get HD versions of Deep Space Nine, and everything's still shot on Shitio over on Babylon 5.
That makes sense.
So that's what I know about pop culture. Is that Babylon 5 is pretty good.
Because I think Babylon 5 was being made exclusively for the new sci-fi channel that had just existed. So it was probably all just being shot on Betamax.
Yeah, shot on Shitio is how it looks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's got to be a way to upscale that. I've been doing different upscales. Well, I found the best upscale. Yeah, AI upscaling, right?
Yeah. It'll get there. It'll get there. Freaking AI has figured out how to decompile software.
Right. The best AI upscaling that I have found, and it's not good AI, right? But the best upscaling I found is to get it on DVD, which gets you the highest resolution, the Betamax resolution. Mm-hmm. Put that into a PlayStation 5.
Okay.
Now the PlayStation 5 will upscale the 480p up to 1080i.
Okay.
Push that into a LG C OLED, at least at the C level, which itself will take the 1080p output and bring that up to 4K. And it will fill in the blanks and it will deinterlace. And now you have something that looks almost like it's 720p. That's pretty good.
That's a lot of very expensive equipment.
But
for such a minor upgrade in quality for a show that was...
Oh no, when it is shot on Shitio level, it is make you cry, pull out your fucking eyes bad.
No, you don't understand. You have to watch it on a CRT.
Oh, you know what? If you're a true fan, if you're a real fan, if you're a fan only,
no.
You're going to get a proper CRT and you're going to play it on that.
You're going to get a proper CRT and you're going to play our podcast on a CRT.
That's right. Or, you know.
No. There's actually a reason behind using a CRT for things like indie games.
Okay.
So I was watching this video and this guy was explaining. He's like, look at this. And he shows like an old, an NES game.
Yeah.
With pixelated graphics. And he goes and he's showing the image from it. And it's like, it's this flat, very blocky. You can obviously tell where the individual pixels meet each other. And he said, okay, now watch this. And he puts it on a CRT. And the fact that the CRT's pixels are bent, and the way that the interlacing is happening causes those dramatic cuts.
The aliasing.
Yeah, the aliasing basically creates shadows and shading to all of these pixels.
Oh, it automatically anti-aliases.
It doesn't anti-alias. It blurs it in such a way that it looks like it was painted on there with different shades to make it look really good.
That's what anti-aliasing is supposed to do.
Yeah. I thought anti-aliasing was just supposed to remove jaggies.
So the jaggies it doesn't remove them. It turns them into the painting of a straight line that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Where we have but
it's creating blurring the colors
together. Yes, that's what anti-aliasing does. It takes all of the corners that hit your pixels, right? Because everything's a square. And so if you have straight lines, it's perfect. But if you have a tilted line, it has to follow a sort of stair-step pattern to turn sideways.
Right.
Any edge does that. Everything does that. Well, anti-aliasing takes that and blurs it out so that the colors match on the stair step, because it's still a stair step. It has to be a stair step because it's a monitor.
Right.
And the square pixels are right there.
Right.
It blurs it between all the pixels so that it looks like it's a straight line.
Okay. So yeah, I guess that means that the
CRTs built anti-aliasing into themselves.
More importantly, the pixel artists who designed those things designed them so that when it outputted on a screen like that, it would have that effect.
So that means that all the settings for your things that were shot on Betamax are meant to output onto something so it can have that effect.
That's just a theory that I'm having right now. I'm gonna check it out at some point. I hear that CRT televisions go for a lot, though. I hear that, like, to find like a decent size CRT TV, it's like upwards of like $1,000.
I think they have them on sale at Walmart for like $750, but not the ones that are in the cabinet.
What the hell are you talking about?
I was there. I think it was like 32 years ago, and it's like $750 at Walmart.
Oh, yes, that makes sense.
Yeah, it was like maybe 26 inches, 28 inches, pretty big, pretty darn big.
So we need to continue to talk about the popular
culture
touchstone.
It's what the kids have.
Yeah.
They love the CRTs.
They love the CRTs.
The Babylon 5s.
The Babylon 5s, yes. Man, can we talk about how like at least the CRT television that we had was a cabinet?
So the thing about the cabinets were that people from the 1950s thought of things as valuable because they were built into furniture, because furniture lasts a long time. And so they just
that TV lasted a long time.
Yeah, they put their TVs in cabinets so that they felt like they would last.
I remember having to sit on top of the cabinet and move the bunny ears around and sit there.
Oh my God.
Yeah. You hold this here so I can watch a snowy projection of the Super Bowl.
I miss being abused as a child.
That's a different podcast.
That is a different podcast. That's the name of our next podcast. We're going to do one more of these tonight. It's called I Miss Being Abused as a Child. And we're just going to talk about our fantastic childhood. But
no,
we won't talk about the pop culture of the time.
We won't talk about the pop culture at the time, and we will not talk about politics.
No politics, because you know what? There was no fascism at the time. And
not any we could recognize.
That's right, because we were children and we just loved America.
Yeah. Remember when that was a thing that was okay?
To love America?
Yeah.
Well, I've got multiple American flags in my office and in front of my home, and I've got a Trump hat. I don't know what you're talking. This is a different podcast.
It's a different podcast.
It is a different podcast. But
you caught me. I was falling down the hole of the other podcast.
Rabbit holes. Yeah. Well, the problem is that when your world's falling apart, you can't really just pay attention to fandoms and stuff, because doing that is what led to the downfall of your society. But I hear there's a new Star Wars out there for kids.
Oh yeah. I was liking. I saw like a little bit of the like trailery thing for it, and the trailer went like this: and you have all of these kids, and they get flung to the other side of the galaxy, and they need Jude Law to help save them. It's like they weren't even like, "There's this character." They were like, "Nah, it's Jude Law."
Gigolo Joe?
Yes, Gigolo Joe. He's here to save the kids.
Like, we already made that movie. It's called AI.
Actually, I don't think Jude Law had anything to do with saving them.
Oh,
AI.
my God. I don't remember that.
I think I remember him needing saving.
I don't remember the plot. Who watched AI? Come on.
I saw AI. I remember the bit where Haley Joel Osment tried to eat a salad and almost died. And it's like, yeah, I remember that bit. And then he drowned in a pool. Just kept killing himself over and over again, because this is what artificial intelligence does when it finds out about life.
Well, I mean, yeah, he was like Teddy Ruxpin, really. But Haley Joel Osment, did he actually kill himself?
No.
Oh.
Haley Joel Osment is the...
That's breaking news, everybody.
No.
Haley Joel Osment did not.
Haley Joel Osment is in things.
Oh,
Haley
really?
Joel Osment is a very prolific voice actor.
Oh, he's a voice actor.
Yeah, he's also been in a few things. He was in what do you call it? He was in The Boys.
What was he in The Boys?
Yeah, he played a character who could have his limbs cut off.
Did he play Babyface?
I don't know.
Lemmy-face?
I don't know.
What season is this?
It's the first season.
Oh, I saw the first season of The Boys.
Yeah, I've only ever seen the first season of The Boys as well.
The third season's the best. There's a character, her name is Stormfront.
Yeah, I know about this. I will eventually get to it when I can get to a point in my life where I can watch things that give me anxiety and I don't
Okay, I just
feel
want everyone
bad.
to know that we are not sponsored by Stormfront.
That's right. We're not sponsored by Stormfront. We're sponsored by... What did we say earlier in the episode?
No,
No, that's the other podcast.
the other Are we sponsored by the other podcasts?
Yes, we're sponsored by the other podcast. No. We said something earlier in the episode, and I forgot what we were. What
Well,
we were sponsored
we
by.
took their money. We don't need to remind anyone of that.
Yeah.
We'll just.
Oh yeah. Glycine.
Dawajilong.
Yeah, we would never forget. Matter of fact, God, remember to put a cut here.
Yes, Dawajilong.
Don't forget the cut.
Dawajilong. All right. Industrial grade glycine. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and talk about our sponsor again. If you're looking for quality glycine to make, for example, smoothies, or you want to make, I don't know, your own McGriddles at home, and you need to have something sweet. Let's say you have diabetes and you're suicidal. All sorts of good reasons to purchase. Also, Dawajilong's industrial grade glycine. And today only for Black Friday, what they're doing is they will drop ship you only 10 pallets. Each pallet has 500 pounds. So that's 5,000 pounds. That is half of their normal minimum order.
Is it sold in the pounds?
No, I'm rounding off. It's kilograms.
Sorry, I didn't mean to suggest that it was imperial versus metric.
Oh yeah, it's definitely imperial.
What I meant was, is it a solid?
Oh, they're little beads. You would not be able to tell the difference between them and BBs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's only when you add them to things that they stop being beads. This is the genius of the McGriddle. They call it syrup crystals, but it's actually just straight industrial grade glycine.
Oh, that sounds delicious, and nobody would say otherwise because
Right. We are sponsored by Dawajilong. There you go. All right, and there's that advertisement. Hopefully, our good people now. A lot of people are saying in the comments that Dawajilong isn't paying us, and it's just the CCP because we're anti-capitalist, and that's not true.
that's not true at all.
Yeah.
They're giving it to us also because of those reasons.
Yes, and it's not being anti-capitalist. They love capitalism. They just also love communism.
Well, what they love is capitalism.
That's a different podcast. It's a different podcast.
That's a different podcast. I stared into the void again.
Okay, back to pop culture. For the real ones, the best thing to happen to pop culture is
Haley Joel Osment, which, by the way, is the voice actor for Sora in Kingdom Hearts.
and I don't know what Kingdom Hearts is. I think it was on the Nintendo Switch.
No, that was the Kingdom Hearts was on the PlayStation 2. It was the game where you fought things with a key with Mickey Mouse.
I remember seeing someone else play that.
Yes, that's the game everybody saw somebody else play. No, it's not true. People love that game. People love that game beyond all measure. People have started cults around that game.
Oh, welcome to the Kingdom Hearts podcast. We are fans only of Kingdom. Oh,
no, you don't want to fuck with the mouse, man.
oh, welcome to the Mousefucker podcast.
Welcome to the Mousefucker podcast. Now,
We will not say the word fuck. That is a rule that we have in all of our podcasts.
except for the times that we allow it.
Right. Well, what we do is we run a little algorithm called the unfucker, and we remove all the words fuck.
Yeah, and then the unfucker decides whether or not a fuck can stay. You can have a little fuck.
Yeah, you can, especially if it's a little fuck. But big fucks, totally out. Sometimes it gets like side fucked, and it's like fuck, and it doesn't tell. So
This is gonna be uneditable.
it's going to be
Stop it.
unfucking editable. So,
but
it's called fans only. I think people are clicking on it because the algo is talking about the word fuck.
what are the kids like these days? They're into the
OnlyFans.
Actually, you know what?
OnlyFans.com is a sponsor.
They are the biggest sponsor we've ever had.
Yeah.
Such a get.
If you can subscribe today, and they're paying us to target this, the estate of Gilbert Godfrey has pictures of his feet. And
oh man,
for only $29.99, you too can get one of those pictures on your computer monitor right now.
that is a steal.
It is a steal.
That's a 5-toed discount.
Famously, Gilbert Godfrey would. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that. Let's just say there's going to be a little surprise when you get those pictures.
So anyway, let's talk about Gen Alpha and what's popular to them.
Gen Alpha.
I know exactly what's popular to them. You want to know why I know? Because Skibbity Toilet.
Skibbity Toilet Bop Bop Bop?
But do you know why I know that? Why I know exactly what Gen Alpha is going to like?
Because they're into 1950s scat?
No.
Okay.
Because they are into unearthing ancient millennial memes.
Ancient millennial memes.
Skibbity Toilet is just a YouTube poop. It's literally using the like Gary's Mod, G-Man, and using it to make machinima.
I'm an ancient millennial.
Yeah, you're an ancient millennial. Wait until they find out about fucking chocolate pudding. Wait until they find out about why is Stu making chocolate pudding at 4 a.m. Because he lost control of his life.
You know, that's a fact. When people are having a hard time in their lives, they do something called meaning maintenance. And there are many ways to engage in meaning maintenance. But one of the most famous, the most interesting is called fluid compensation. If you lose control of some area in your life and you've lost meaning there, you can maintain meaning by showing control in something else. So you can make, for example, chocolate pudding at 4 a.m. because your wife has left you. Now, I'm assuming that this is a metaphor of some kind I've missed.
No. It's not a metaphor. If I remember correctly, and I could be remembering entirely wrong because I don't think I've seen Rugrats since I was like 9. So I'm gonna, if I'm remembering correctly, it was because he was being blackmailed by a child.
That makes perfect sense. So yeah, he lost meaning in his life as an adult because of being blackmailed by one Angelica Pickles.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's say.
That sounds correct.
And he couldn't handle it. And so he was doing something to make meaning in his life, and or it was 4 a.m. and she demanded pudding.
Yes.
But it could be both. ¿Por qué no los dos?
Yeah, and the moment they start unearthing more of these ancient millennial memes, it's going to be like how millennials looked back at the 1980s and were like, that was cool.
Remember that brief time in the teens, in the 20 teens, when like music sounded like the 1980s again? Wasn't that weird?
It sounded like 1980s pop music. Dance and disco were back.
It was for a very brief time, but it was very popular.
And like indie rock was back.
Yeah.
You had like somebody that I used to know, and
right.
And you had fucking Fun was on the scene.
Right. So Gautier and Fun and they were good. They were good because I'm old.
Yeah. Now listen, they were solid back then, and then you had a lot of Adele. Adele.
Nobody doesn't like Adele.
Yeah, nobody doesn't like Adele. If you don't like Adele, then
that's fine.
It's okay to like or dislike something based on your own personal merits. But if you dislike
that's
something,
a different podcast. This is fans only.
Right. You're not allowed to dislike anything. This is for fans only.
That's right.
But in all seriousness, if you're building your personal enjoyment based off of whether or not you assume other people enjoy or dislike a thing, then you're never going to appreciate Chad Kroeger. You're never going to appreciate Nickelback.
Nickelback is one of the most highly sold like bands of all time.
Yeah. It's everybody lying about not liking Nickelback.
I have a friend who's into death metal, and he lent me his computer, and the only album he has on there was like, it wasn't just one. It was like 3 Nickelback albums.
Yeah. Of course
I
it
was
was.
confused.
It's because Nickelback's songs slap.
Oh, I have never heard them.
You've never heard them?
No, I heard the one about a photograph, but it was only in a meme, and it just kept going over and over again.
To be fair, that was one of the better ones.
Oh,
the ones where it was a meme.
Look at this photograph.
Yeah.
And there was just a guy holding a photograph,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it just
yeah.
kept saying, "Look at this photograph."
Listen, the memes surrounding Nickelback were, I think it was more about that that secret club mentality, right?
It was too popular.
Everybody wanted to be part of a secret club of people who didn't like Nickelback because Nickelback was so terrible and
Oh, it's like pumpkin spice.
yeah, it's pumpkin spice. It's people claiming they hate a thing when there's a couple of people who don't like it who are probably influential in your life, or
Or just like people on stupid fucking podcasts.
yeah, some dumbasses.
This is why I say when it comes to the new Star Wars movies, right? 7, 8, and 9, I like every one of them, each one better than the last.
Well, for me, I have different perspectives on each one. I think that the first 7, with 7, I think that when I first saw it, my thought process was, oh, they have to prove to everybody that this is Star Wars.
Okay.
They had to prove that it's Star Wars by just following Star Wars, by just doing a Star Wars.
They did a Star Wars.
They did a Star Wars. And then when the second one came out, I was like, holy shit, this is an amazing art piece. Like, there's this whole chunk of it that is fucking weird and boring.
It reminded me of Red State.
It did. You know what it really reminded me of? It reminded me of in just tone and for like without the sections with like Canto Bite and whatnot.
Sure.
Because we're not getting into the anti-capitalist message right now.
Right. That's a different podcast.
That's a different podcast. But it reminded me of Fury Road. It reminded me of Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, in terms of tone and style.
Yeah, in terms of tone and style, about this like being chased, throughout the galaxy, and then eventually having to like hold your own at a certain point. And it's like it was this big like epic like convoy chase scene of a movie.
It was,
and it had some really cool set pieces and. I think that it had gotten a lot of flack because there were people who we will talk about or have talked about or will continue to talk about on another podcast who decided that they disliked it because there was a woman who had purple hair.
Right. They're involuntary in many ways, including their dislike of purple-haired women.
Right.
Which is very similar to Jason Pargin's new book, This Big Box of Doom is Starting to Worry Me. He does a great job of talking about these various online fandoms and interactions between them. I'm not going to get into the politics of it all because it's a different podcast.
That's right.
But I was listening to An Evening with Kevin Smith.
Right. Back when he used to do the
evenings with Kevin.
Yeah. He used to go to universities and people would ask him questions.
Right.
And he would like answer maybe like 3 questions because it would go off on
insane
tangents.
Essentially, it was a stand-up comedy.
Yeah, it was a stand-up comedy bit where like 3 people got to ask him a question. I think the most recent one he did, like the last one he did, 1 person asked a question.
Honest to God, that's the kind of stand-up comedy I could do.
Oh yeah.
Just kind of like prove that it's improv. Ask me a question. I'll riff. So I was listening to This Evening with Kevin Smith. He wrote all the View Askew, Chasing Amy, and Dogma, and so forth. He got worse once he started smoking weed, but
then he got better.
Yeah, I haven't seen his newer stuff. I just know that there was like some nasty middle ground after a few of these things where he was like high all the time.
I mean, the thing is that I don't think that him getting high all the time had negatively affected his work.
Okay.
I think that his work kind of stayed at a certain level, and
it is juvenile on the surface.
I think that he's self-proclaimed dick and fart jokes, right?
Right.
It's like dick and fart jokes. That's what we do here.
So it's really about the dick and fart jokes you don't tell.
Yes, it's really about the dick and fart jokes you don't tell. And sorry.
So we didn't kill him, and you're saying he's better off in the new stuff.
I think that he is probably doesn't suffer from bipolar disorder, and therefore marijuana probably helps him out significantly.
Yeah. So he was Cop Out, which was supposed to be called A Couple of Dicks,
and that was partially his fault why that turned out the way it is, but I'm mostly gonna blame Bruce Willis for not wanting to be on set.
Yeah, he does report. He called it chaffa.
Yeah, he called it chuffa. It's bullshit. Get rid of it.
So he just kill pieces of the script.
Yeah. He was just like, he'd go up to Kevin Smith and he'd be like, "This is stupid. This is filler. You don't need any of this." Because he was like, "We're not getting to the action." It's like, this isn't a fucking action film. Like, Kevin Smith didn't have the belief in himself,
right? The chops to deal with a Bruce Willis.
To tell Bruce Willis, no, this is a comedy. It's supposed to be funny. It's about the dialogue, because that's where Kevin Smith rules. His dialogue is really good, and yeah, he'll come up with some bonkers concepts, but he's never had the budget to deal with concepts, right? So he was doing this cop-out film, and Bruce Willis basically browbeat him into making the film not as good as it could have been.
And now we know Bruce Willis was being self-serving. He was slowly degenerating over time, and he was throwing stuff away because he really just couldn't do the reading as well as he could in the past. And he was just, saving himself time from having to memorize lines and say them that he couldn't do.
Yeah, I mean, like, the man's been around for a very long time and doing the work long enough to the point where I don't think he...
Oh, you know about the neurodegeneracy for Bruce Willis, though?
No, I don't.
Oh, so Bruce Willis not recently, but towards the end of when he started actually being productive, started doing every movie that would ever sign him up. To the point where he was putting like an earpiece in his ear and repeating back the lines as he was being told them on set.
Wow.
And they said there was some sort of neurodegenerative problem that he's got where he can no longer memorize and repeat back lines. And that is been hitting him for a while. That's why he was really chaffa-ing, like saying, this is chaffa, this is chaffa. He was getting rid of lines because he couldn't remember them. He wanted to get to the action because he could only do action.
Well, that gives me a different perspective on the situation.
The guy's not an asshole. He's just kind of protecting himself.
Yeah, he was just building himself a nest egg for when he can't do this anymore. You know what? That makes a lot more sense, and I was being a little too harsh.
Well, it's not that you were being too harsh for what you thought he was doing. You thought he was just kind of an asshole.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that's the kind of character he has a tendency to play, and it's really easy to conflate characters people play with who they are.
Right. I bet that Bruce Willis is a really good guy if you interact with him, as good as anyone with that kind of money can be.
Right. I mean, like, at a certain level, when you acquire a certain level of wealth, that's a different podcast, goddammit.
Okay, so wealth is fine, and we would like some. Thank you, please. Okay, that's this podcast. So the reason I'm talking about Kevin Smith is that he made a movie that I really like. It's called Red State.
Yeah, I saw Red State.
So the best part of Red State, and this is what Kevin Smith said about it, I noticed this what he was doing when I watched it, and I saw Evening with Kevin Smith, I was like, yep, that's what he did. Mm-hmm. He said, every time I knew what I was going to do next, I did something different.
Just went in a wildly different direction.
Wildly different direction than anything that your Save the Cat beats are telling you to do.
Yep.
And not that he did anything that was outside of the rationality of the film. He did it outside the rationality of your expected story arc.
Right.
So if you want something that's not Marvel again, go watch Red State.
I mean, to be fair, I think Red State came out pre the Marvel.
Sure, yeah, not Marvel, not Toy Story. Toy Story has the same beats. Every movie has like the same beats, right?
Yeah.
You want something that goes against it? Watch Red State. Very, very good.
Yeah, absolutely. I would suggest Red State.
Memento.
Well, Memento, yes. Let's see. We have
For $59.99, Gilbert Gottfried's Feet as a video. No plot line at all.
I mean,
well, there's a line.
You're not supposed to give it
Oh,
away.
not giving it away. There's going to be a surprise, though. It's white. Okay. It's it. What is it? So, and so I'm watching episode 8.
Right. We were talking about
And
Star Wars.
I'm thinking, wow, this is a lot like Red State.
Yes.
Every time you think you know where the plot's going,
It goes somewhere wildly different.
it was so good. The thing is, it's not good because there's a reason people like the same story over and over again.
Right. Star Wars is built off of the hero's journey.
Yeah.
Like
Literally the save the cat, but more cat saving than save the cat.
yes. Save the planet of the cats.
Yes, it is. Yeah, Joseph Campbell's hero journey, Hero with 1,000 Faces. You do exactly the same thing every time in every story. Like,
And then we got back to that in 9,
Yeah.
and I think that it was a bit sad when we didn't get a third director, when we had to go back to J.J. Abrams.
that was a mistake. Yeah.
That was a mistake. I think that if we were gonna do J.J. Abrams the whole time, we should have done J.J. Abrams the whole time, because you got my expectations up with 8.
Right. I
Yeah.
want Werner Herzog on it on 9.
I mean, we got Werner Herzog, and he was in Mandalorian, and it was fucking great.
It was epic.
And
And
he-
Mandalorian's the best.
And he's the reason why Baby Yoda was as good as it was.
The Baba Yaga.
Because he demanded that they stop being cowards and use the puppet.
That's right.
Use the puppets. I can't do a Werner Herzog.
I have sad puppets for sad space aliens. Zervabesh. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. That's
Werner Herzog is my favorite because he so believes in method acting that he fed a person to a bear. Literally. Yeah. He directed this movie, Bear Man, and then he took the man and he fed him to a bear, and the bears, they ate the man.
What the fuck are you talking
I'm
about?
talking about the movie Bear Man.
Is it called Bear Man?
It's called Bear Man.
I remember Grizzly Man.
That's what it is.
Was it Grizzly Man?
It's
Werner
Grizzly Man.
Herzog had anything to do with Grizzly Man?
Werner
I thought that was
Herzog
just I thought
directed
that was
Grizzly
literally
Man.
a dude who went out into the
Who's
woods.
the director of Grizzly Man?
Grizzly Man was directed by Werner Herzog.
Robot said it.
Holy shit.
Werner Herzog is a brilliant genius of art. And just because Interpol is against him doesn't mean we should be.
What the fuck? I honestly thought that Grizzly Man was just because I've only seen like bits and pieces of this film.
I would never watch such a thing.
I've only seen bits and pieces of the like, oh, he's hugging the bears and the dancing with the bears.
Well, you know,
I know that it ends up with him being eaten by a bear.
Well,
I get that.
yeah.
But the fact of the matter is I was under the impression that it was just him going out into the woods with a goddamn tripod. I didn't know that it was something that was like...
How do you get such great direction that you would have that impression except from the genius of Werner Herzog? Also, the man was eaten.
Yeah.
He was eaten.
Yeah, I get that.
But all of us gain joy.
I understood that it was something that happened. I understood that it was something that happened. I thought it was found footage.
Well, that's the genre. People really like that genre.
So...
Werner Herzog once did a documentary and he invented pieces to add to it that were completely unrelated to the documentary. And then when they asked him, why did you fake the documentary? He said, I never called it a documentary. I called it a sci-fi.
What were we talking about? What movie?
I don't remember. It was all in German. I heard this at like an academic conference once. It was like they were explaining the brilliance of the storytelling and art of Werner Herzog. They were German as well, and also don't go party with those guys.
No, it's been my experience that
Academic German
academic
who
Germans
love Werner Herzog are not
Well-
your friend. This is my experience too.
No, it's my experience that academic Germans have a tendency to be cool with a lot of bad things.
They're not Nazis, right? They're
just adjacent.
yeah. They're not for
they're-
fascism. They're just in a world where they're really proud of
Hey,
different podcasts.
different podcast. Also, we're cutting that because we might need to go there
Oh.
based on academia. So you're cutting this.
Yeah, guys, this is going to go into the part that is they're definitely going to cancel us outtakes. And if you're going to cancel us, you have to subscribe first. So that's why it's going in there.
Yep.
Time marker.
Fans only.
50 minutes. Fans only. All right. So, as we're talking about Werner Herzog, he
Yes.
fed a man to some bears.
He fed a man to some bears.
He didn't really feed him. The guy wanted to do some dancing and some eating, and he did eat with the bears.
I mean, the bears ate with him.
There you go. So that's Werner Herzog. He really should have done episode 9. However, the episode 9 we got was a very good J.J. Abrams go at something.
It was solid. It followed all of the expectations that were set forth.
There's two things that made me. There's one thing that made me unhappy.
Okay.
Well, two things. The first is the entire arc was built on and ought to have paid off with the opposite of the end of the first of the original series, which is when Rey gets to the end, she's supposed to turn to the dark side finally because she realizes who she is, which is Palpatine's granddaughter, and she joins with the dark side. Because it makes sense for her character and everything we've seen so far, and the Star Wars role-playing game that she has been taking on dark side points the entire time. And she's obviously found the power of Force lightning. And the thing that's supposed to sell it to you is when Chewbacca dies. She kills Chewbacca with her Force lightning, and she realizes this is evil, and I like it. And she takes that evil, that sadness in her, and she embraces it as why she needs more power to justify the evil she's done so far. It's a deep and honest exploration of what it is to fall into the dark side. But then they saved Chewbacca with a second ship, and then they made her good.
Yeah, I can see where your issue there is, but I can also see it from like the perspective of like a toy manufacturer.
We are a fans-only podcast.
Right. And from the perspective of the toy manufacturer, known only as the Grand Mouse Coalition, you don't want to Eve coat your female protagonist.
It's true. She is a Disney princess.
You do not want to Eve coat her. You do not want her to be the fall of civilization because she's a woman, right? This is
all right. You're looking at me like I don't want to be part of the patriarchy, but this is the fans only podcast, and that's a different podcast.
Right.
Fans can't be woke, okay? Because wokeness is evil. This is for the white cis het male.
Stop! You're
God
just
damn it,
flying
another
right
podcast!
into the podcast.
Keep doing it.
You're just flying into it.
Can't stop. You know what's crazy?
Good job, Icarus.
You know what's great? It's crazy. I don't do that in class.
I know.
I make everything I do subtle and accurate and all scientific. I think it's because I don't do that in class. I just can't handle an honest conversation outside of class without going full full left libertarian.
Honest conversation. We've been nothing but lobbing sarcasm at each other this entire... No, it's all serious. Glycine.
Sarcasm is the deepest truth.
Who says you need structure for a podcast?
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Very good. So that is Dawa Zhilong will be delivering to our 500th subscriber, and you just got to pay attention. One of the top 500 subscribers. So you could be the first one, you could be the 500th. One of the top 500 subscribers is going to get 500 for 500. That's right. 500 pallets of Dawa Zhilong high-grade, food-grade glycine. Now, they have said if you need the pharmaceutical-grade glycine, you can either buy it from them at a reduced price by the amount that the food grade is. All right, it's 10 to 1. They're only delivering a lot of pallets, though. Or they say you can add baking soda and a little, I think they tasted some peanut butter in there. And oh, that's a deep cut, guys. If you're not a fan,
if you're not a fan of late 90s Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, if you're not memorizing the recipe that he produced for crack cocaine, then you probably didn't get that joke. But if you did, Dawa Zhilong has you covered. By the way, if anyone is in the Mexican Mafia, we used to have contacts in the Mexican Mafia, and I think no, that guy lost his privileges, so I don't have any more. But Dawa Zhilong does have some other chemicals that they would like to export, and they'd like to get them to you in Mexico. So go ahead and contact us.
No. You don't contact us.
You contact our operations efficiency manager, John Christensen.
No. No.
I was about to give away.
I can't. Yes, and that. That needs to get cut.
No, unless it?
Yes, and has an irate uncle named... No, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, so... Oh, yeah, there you go. Let's see. More popular culture news. South Korea went into a military lockdown, eliminating its democracy, and then its democratic government came together and said, actually, we're going to impeach the guy who said that we're under martial law.
Yeah. So from what I understood, that the president had locked himself in the seat of government and declared martial law. My wife has a colleague who's currently there.
Oh my god!
And she's like, we're not in personal level contact with each other, so I don't know what's going on there.
Hey, how is that impacting the creation of South Korean dramas? Because whatever we just talked about is a different podcast.
Yeah, it is a different podcast. So anyway, when are we getting a second season of Squid Game?
Right. You know what? Netflix put up Squid Game, the game. So now you can watch Squid Game, or you can watch the reality TV show Squid Game.
Is there a reality
TV show Squid Game? That's...
Holy shit, The Onion ate itself.
They did, and that was really hot. And you're giving it away with a foot pick again, but okay. So... there you go. And on that bombshell...
remember to buy the glycine.
Dawa Zhilong.